All right. What's going on, everyone out there? This is the host of the new show that I'm creating, Clayton or Zeno. Um, and essentially, what I am going to be doing is going live sometimes just recording content and sharing my personal journey, sharing my personal thoughts as I navigate as an inspiring entrepreneur. Um, Going to talk about the wins, the losses, and everything else in between. Uh, a brief backstory on me before I dive into um, my topic today. A brief backstory on me. I was born here in Houston, Texas. Um, I am currently 30 years old. Um, I did move to Colorado and lived out in Denver and Colorado Springs for a few years. I am happily married. Um, Love my wife very much. She has been a very vital part of my journey through life and actually growing. And we're doing the best thing any couple could do, which is actually growing together. I often tell people that because they're like, "Damn, you're that young and you love being married." I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I genuinely love it. It's one of the best things I could have come across in my life, especially as someone who wasn't taught any marriage lessons growing up. Um, it's been amazing. Been married for almost 6 years now, so it's been awesome. Um, yeah, so that's I guess enough about me. So my whole idea of why I'm starting this, I guess this is a current YouTube page that I've always had, but my whole idea behind this is to help other people that are kind of straddling the fence between do I kind of stay in the position I'm in and kind of just, don't change nothing, um, take what, the bare minimum and just live off of that, or the people who may want a little bit more, who may want to say, hey, I can take a risk, a calculated risk. I don't have to just throw everything to the walls, but if I make a calculated decision and say, based off of these number of factors, I can, risk a good amount. And it doesn't always mean it's going to work out, but from calculated risk, you tend to grasp those learned lessons more if they don't work, rather just taking a blank-minded risk, as I like to say. So yeah, changing mindset, changing of financing, growing, even marriage talk. That's something that I love to do. Something that I do look forward to doing over the next couple years. As a child, I've often grown up. I mean, not grown up. It sounds crazy. I was raised to in the church, like a lot of us were. Always had to say speeches for Easter, Christmas programs, things like that. Um, the thing is, and I've always talked like way too much as a child growing up. Um, but I'm able to take those things in which I like doing and learn other things and try to pretty much blend those things together. My ability to talk a lot and also my learned things that I've come across in the past, say, 5, 6 years in my life. Excuse me. But with that being said, let me go ahead and dive into my first topic for the show, which is the story of being undeniable. Okay. So, as you can probably see on the little title card right there, it says undeniable. Now I am just gonna straight up say it. I'm a huge wrestling fan, so you probably have heard the word undeniable used in reference to Cody Rhodes over the past number of years. in his ascension to um, become the star he is now. Yeah, he was a second generation superstar, but he did go through a lot of hardships, you know. And I look at his story and I look at a lot of things I went through in my life, and there's a good amount of similarities. Now, I obviously have not helped start a multi-million-dollar wrestling company, and I am not yet a former WWE champion, but I can look at a lot of things, him being fired, him being let go, and essentially what he had to do was bet on himself. Um, he could have stayed in the position that he was in and kind of just took what was given and just accepted the paycheck and just coasted through life. But for certain people inside of us, it's really hard to coast through life. Um, Even through school, I coasted. Like a lot of, especially my high school years, I coasted. I'll say like I coasted. I didn't care. I was just kind of just there, because a part of what I was always taught growing up was just you show up. If anything, you show up. Um, but it left a lot else, a lot of other things to be desired inside of me, you know. So just showing up, just going with the flow, uh, kind of like a zombie type of deal where your body's just going on autopilot, your mind's on autopilot. I was never like that. I always had to had something in which I crave, something in which I wanted to do. There was always this need to do something or do more. I didn't necessarily know what that more or that something would be, but that craving of wanting more, that's what always was inside of me. And over the past couple of years, it just got bigger and bigger. And as I'm about to talk about now, my last job that I was at, so uh, since 2022, I was working from home, worked for a number of different companies, doing different work. So doing call center work, doing tech work, doing um, selling insurance for appliances, which is actually kind of fun. Uh, that is essentially what I was doing. So I haven't actually had to leave home and work a job, and go out into the world, go through traffic, things like that. Um, so my last work from home job, it actually ended. It was a pretty cool program. We were just helping people fix their appliances. It was chill. Uh, but once that ended, I transitioned over and said, you know what, I'll just do a little security job gig. Speaking of which, before I actually started that security job gig, me and my wife were talking, and we had already kind of started noticing stuff, especially like with how we're being paid, the whole concept of trading your time in for money. Um, that was something that we kind of started really paying attention to more. Then it went from that to us paying attention to how we were being taxed. How our paychecks were being uh, dealt with through the government. And then more so what those taxes were used to put or used to take from us and used to put, I guess, to fund other people's lives. Once we started kind of putting two and two together, it was like, nah, something ain't right here. Because I understand the whole Social Security tax part. Once you get a certain age and you're able to file for Social Security, typically you're able to access that money that has been always taken from you and other people who's been working. But the other stuff, I was just like, hold on, isn't that how other people don't have to work? Like you're essentially paying for them to do nothing. All right, bet. So I took that as yeah, I'm not. Something got to change here. Something has to change. Along with that feeling of your job is cool, but I just feel like I can do more in life. Um, that combined with when I filed my taxes. Now I'm not going to say exactly how much money I made this past year, but I will say this was the first time I actually made a decent amount of money over a year. And it's not a decent amount in reality, but from what I've made in previous years, last year, yeah, that was the most money I've made. Which that means you're going to qualify to be taxed in a higher bracket. Did not understand that concept yet, but yeah, I learned pretty quick what it was like to get taxed in a higher bracket. So that happening, the feeling of being undeniable, it was a perfect storm, like I say, to when that position ended, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna find something basic and I'm gonna use that to kind of like fund my little entrepreneurship. And we carved out a plan for us to go back into the workforce for just a limited amount of time, just enough to where we could save, make sure expenses were paid, make sure we can get extra things such as equipment, um, pay for certain programs, certain software that we needed, and that's what we did. But the 2 months were quite a journey. Um, for one, we both had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be at work for 6, and we both were on the public transportation. Now, I don't have anything wrong with the concept of public transportation. I think it's a great idea, especially as cities grow. It's a very economical way to get around the city. It's a lot cheaper than Lyft, Uber, paying gas. Paying for mechanic fees and things like that, tollway fees. Hey, the metro is pretty good at times. Um, but what would happen is because we woke up so early and we had to catch the bus so early, sometimes those early routes wouldn't come. Like they just not necessarily late, they just wouldn't come at all. So I would be waiting at the bus stop for extra 20 minutes, enough time to where the next bus comes, and I'm just like, nobody is gonna say anything. Like the bus schedule ain't gonna change. It's gonna like not come at all. Okay, cool. All right. So, and keep in mind the job that I went into was a security gig. Easy money. I know what to do. It's something that I could do quick. Like it's I could do it with my eyes closed. It's not the hardest gig in the world. It's probably the easiest job out there. Which is so weird how people get fired. But anyway, um, security gig, I already know I could do it. Just me getting that job, I actually had to walk like 30 minutes. And it just so happened that morning that I was walking to my interview, it was like 30 degrees outside. And here in Houston, like this city isn't built for any type of cold weather at all. So 30 degrees outside. I got the little hot hands hand warmers, the little packs of them, the 2 pack. I got two of them in my hands, in my little blazer jacket pocket, and I think I was wearing this shirt too, by the way. And yeah, I had to walk and I had to get there before time because that's just the mindset that I had of nobody's going to beat me to this position. Like I'm going to get it. Like I made that point apparent, um, and that's what happened. First person in, did a great interview. Everything went well. Got the position. Um, Working there was quite interesting. Now, I'm not going to go into specific details and name people, but I will say in the stories that I'm going to tell, and even in the future when I make references back to this position, um, no one necessarily will be shed in a negative light because there was no like evil, wicked people. I think there were some people who felt kind of intimidated by me, and I didn't see why because I'm just like, bro, I'm the same position as you. If anything, I'm actually a notch lower. So, and I'm just doing my job. Like, I ain't even, I'm just here to do what y'all told me to do. Um, so, working there, initially, it was a little put offish because it had me going into the mindset of kind of being under people. And not so much that's an issue, but when you kind of see yourself as like a little bit more, it makes it a little weird. So what I did was I chatted with ChatGPT, ironically, about that issue, and ChatGPT gave me a lot of wonderful advice, and actually brought back an old book I had read back in like 2014, which was the 48 Laws of Power. First law, never outshine the master. Play my role, play my position. Even if I know I can be more competent than someone that's higher, that's not my position. My position is to play this role, is to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not supposed to be doing A, B, C, and X, Y, and Z. Although I know I can, if it's called upon me, I definitely would have done it, and I did do it. But that's not my role. So me doing that or me kind of having that mindset, it actually made things a lot more smoother. And a couple more things like don't disclose your true intentions. No one at that job had any idea about what I was really there for. Um, I wasn't there for just a job. I wasn't there for to move up to become a supervisor. I was there to literally help fund what I'm doing now. Um, I knew that. My wife knew that. Some people might have felt that, but they didn't know. Like they knew, like it's a little bit more to this dude, but I don't know exactly what it is. That's probably what they felt like. Yeah, he's probably planning to do something else. And even when I eventually left and put in my 2 weeks, everyone, I told everyone I was going to another position, which is partially true. I am, and I did, but that position was me creating my own, me understanding the whole concept of creating my own system. So I don't necessarily have to be part of someone else's system, you know. Um, and during that time working there, I used that as my way to do whatever I needed to do to help fund either myself or fund the things that I'm working on outside of that. So I would, be looking at different items, different products I can add to my shop. And I did a lot of reading, a lot of audiobook listening, a lot of YouTube interview watching. Um, Man, I gained so much knowledge just doing my job for one, but also doing my personal job, which is to educate myself, you know? Because one thing I've learned, especially from millionaires, is that educating yourself is your job. Like, I can't understate how important that is to educate yourself. If you want any, I guess, shot at being wealthy, if you want any chance at even coming close to being a millionaire, yet alone a billionaire, reading, understanding, comprehending that is something that you're going to do all your life. Um, you're a student all your life. I'm 30 now. I feel like I'm just now getting to the point where I see so much more out there that I could learn and I could grasp and I could undertake myself. It's not going to be easy, but I love the challenge, because I do understand if I master these things, I can just always build up on it. And I'll never be in a situation where I have to literally ask or beg and plead someone to hire me, you know, whether that would be as a security guard, whether that be as a customer service agent, whether that be, as like a dentist or a doctor or something. I don't never want to put myself in that position ever again. You know, this is why I am so passionate about talking to people about mindset changing and finance changing and growth, because it's so many more people out there like myself that we're taught, hey, school, 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 get your education. That's what you need to do. But the main thing is you need to grow from that. It's not bad having a job because, like I said, I'm telling this story about me having to go and get a job. But a lot of people get stuck at a job and end up there forever and ever, and they end up putting themselves in a position to where they have no out. They never created anything outside of that. They never even started paving roads outside of that job. So once that job ended, once that position fired them, once the company was sold, then a lot of people were pretty much left out to in the pasture. People didn't know what they wanted to do. They didn't know how they were going to eat. They didn't know how they were going to pay their bills. Like, I think something like over 75% of Americans are like at least like two paychecks away from being considered in a poverty situation. That's problematic because so many people work hard. So many people go to work every day. So many people go 20, 30, 40, 50 years working their butts off, man. Like, I firsthand, man, my mom, she worked her tail off for a very long time. Problem was, my mom didn't do anything outside of working. She didn't build anything. So as she got older and she wasn't able to work, then things got bad. Then things got really bad. Her health deteriorated and she didn't have any way to make any money, to the point where she had to be, on government assistance for a bit. Um, that's something in which I don't want that to happen to me. I wish somebody would have told her years ago about how to make money work for her, so she won't ever have to be in that position in which you can't work and you're older and you have health issues. It's extremely hard. And that's something I do as well use as a motivating factor for me to continuously push me to become my own CEO. You know, so man, that was a lot. And I think this is going to be a refreshing thing for me because I can kind of use this as a somewhat of a journaling thing for my personal experiences, think about things that I go through. Um, and yeah, man, I'm just going to be telling you guys everything from here on out. So if it's one thing I want people to take away from this, it's trusting yourself, never stop being a student, and understand that you too can be undeniable. Um, being undeniable does mean you have went through failures, you know. Um, but being undeniable doesn't mean you let those failures make you. You can get past them. It takes time, but I guarantee you it's always better on the other side of the fence. So take those lessons. Hopefully, people listen to this and take those lessons and actually help steer them through life. And yeah, this is a nice first episode. So I do look forward to speaking with you guys once again. Thank you.